Hadrat Saeed bin Jubair and Hujjaj bin Yusuf. Hadrat Saeed bin Jubair auliaallah was born in the 45 AH, 665 AD. In Kufa. His title was Abu Abdullah and he was considered an very eminent jurist and scholar. He was also a specialist in Hadith and Islamic jurisprudence. Hadrat Saeed bin Jubair auliaallah met many distinguished companions and acquired vast knowledge from them. He used to recite the Holy Quran in a very beautiful manner. He learned tafsir of the Holy Quran from the Blessed Companion, Hadrat Abdullah ibn Abbas auliaallah. Even someone like Hujjaj bin Yusuf also admired Hadrat Saeed bin Jubair auliaallah. The only reason that Hujjaj became his enemy later is that Hadrat Saeed bin Jubair auliaallah was a supporter of Ibn Ashash, who was an opponent of the Banu Umayyah. During the ensuing battle between both of them, Ibn Ashash was killed and obviously Hujjaj became an open enemy of Hadrat Saeed bin Jubair auliaallah. Even though Hadrat Saeed bin Jubair auliaallah was forced occasions to support Hujjaj on many, he refused to do so, with the result that Hujjaj kept threatening him with death. Finally, in the year 95 AH, he was martyred. It is mentioned that when the great Imam Ahmed bin Hanbal auliaallah, used to remember him, he used to weep. Imam Ahmed bin Hanbal auliaallah used to also say, "I swear by Allah Azza wa Jal that Saeed bin Jubair has been killed in such a condition that every Muslim in the world is in need of his knowledge." Hadrat Saeed bin Jubair auliaallah, a saint and a Shaykh al-Islam, was killed by the tyrant Hujjaj bin Yusuf. It is very difficult to find any book today in which one will not find the name of this eminent scholar not mentioned. Yet, it is sad to think that this eminent saint was killed by one of the most despicable people of his era. What was his crime? What did he do that was so serious that warranted his death? His only crime was that he stood for the truth and was not prepared to compromise the truth for anyone or anything. Hadrat Saeed bin Jubair auliaallah openly accused Hujjaj of oppression and tyranny. When Hujjaj heard what the great scholar had mentioned about him, he made a decision that he would have this great scholar killed because he did not want anyone to openly oppose him. The soldiers of Hujjaj then went to the house of Hadrat Saeed bin Jubair auliaallah and knocked on his door. When he saw who it was, he read Hasbunallah wa mal wakil. Hadrat Saeed bin Jubair auliaallah then asked them what they wanted. They told him that Hujjaj wanted to see him in his court. Hadrat Saeed bin Jubair auliaallah asked them to wait for him. He entered his room and placed the special scent which is placed on a dead body. Obviously, this is something which is mixed with various other types of fragrance as well. He placed this on his body after making ghusl. He then also wore his kafan. The soldiers then took Hadrat Saeed bin Jubair auliaallah to the court of Hujjaj. During the entire journey, he kept mentioning that there is no one more powerful than Allah Azza wa Jal, and certainly Allah Azza wa Jal will ultimately destroy the transgressor. When Hadrat Saeed bin Jubair auliaallah was presented in the court of Hujjaj, the eyes of this tyrant was red with anger. Hujjaj then asked him what his name was. He replied, "Saeed bin Jubair." However, Hujjaj mockingly replied, "You are not Saeed bin Jubair, you are Shaykh bin Qusayr." Hadrat Saeed bin Jubair auliaallah replied, "This name was kept for me by my mother and she certainly knew better than you." Hujjaj then said, "You and your mother are both a disgrace." The great scholar replied, "Knowledge of the unseen is known to Allah Azza wa Jal. Hujjaj asked, "What is your opinion of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam?" He replied, "He is a prophet of guidance and the Imam of mercy." Hujjaj asked him his opinion about Hadrat Ali radiallahu and he replied, "He has become the beloved of Allah Azza wa Jal and is also a chief of mercy." Hujjaj asked him, "What do you have to say about me?" The great Imam replied, "You are an oppressive person and will go to Allah Azza wa Jal in such a state that your hands will be red with the blood of innocent Muslims." Hujjaj then offered Hadrat Saeed bin Jubair radiallahu gold and silver and he instructed one of his servants to present the great Imam with 2 pouches of gold and silver. The great Imam declared, "What is this? If this something you have saved to protect yourself against the divine anger and wrath of Allah Azza wa Jal, then it is something which can be praised. If however, you have robbed the poor and innocent of this wealth, then I swear by Allah Azza wa Jal in whose divine power is my life, you should fear that day when even the breastfeeding mother will forget her infant." Allah Azza wa Jal states in Surah Hajj, verse 2. On the day when you will witness it, every nursing mother will forget her nuzzling and every pregnant one will discharge her burden, and you, O Muhammad, will see people as if they are drunk, whereas they will not be intoxicated, but the fact is that Allah's punishment is very severe. Hujjaj then asked, "Why do you not laugh like the rest of us?" The great Imam replied, "When I think about the day when everyone will arise from their graves and all secrets will be revealed, my laughter immediately disappears." Hujjaj asked him why he and others were able to laugh. Hadrat Saeed bin Jubair radiallahu replied that the hearts of people are not the same. Hujjaj threatened him with the punishment of placing him in a wall of fire. Hadrat Saeed bin Jubair radiallahu replied, "If you have the power to do this, then I would worship you instead, but you have no power to do this." Hujjaj then stated that he would murder the great Imam in such a manner that would have no comparison. The great Imam replied, "I swear by Allah Azza wa Jal that the manner in which you kill me, in like manner, on the day of the judgment, you will also be punished." Hujjaj then ordered that Hadrat Saeed bin Jubair radiallahu be killed. The great Imam then read the verse in Surah Al-An'am, 79. I have directed my attention towards him who has created the heavens and the earth, am devoted solely to him, and am not of the polytheists. Hujjaj ordered that his head be turned away from the Qibla, however Hadrat Saeed bin Jubair radiallahu replied, "Wherever you turn, you will find Allah Azza wa Jal." He was then ordered to be placed on the ground, to which he replied as found in the Surah Taha, verse 55. "From the earth we have created you, and to it we shall return you, and from it we shall raise you again." Hujjaj asked him, "You are still smiling after all of this?" Hadrat Saeed bin Jubair radiallahu replied, "Those who give their hearts to Allah Azza wa Jal, when do they become afraid of oppression and tyranny?" The great Imam then continued to look at him while he smiled and kept saying, "I am smiling because Allah Azza wa Jal is certainly merciful of his servants, and yet, you have become so brave and arrogant in front of his divine being." Hadrat Saeed bin Jubair radiallahu was then ordered to be killed. As this was happening, the great Imam kept saying, "O Allah Azza wa Jal, after me do not allow this oppressor to overpower anyone else." After saying these words, the great Imam was killed. There is no doubt that this dua of the great Imam was immediately accepted by Allah Azza wa Jal. A few days later, terrible sores began to appear on the body of Hujjaj and the pain was unbearable. In fact, For nearly a month, he lived in terrible pain and anguish. People actually thought that Hujjaj had become insane. In this month, he had forgotten all the joys of this world. Hujjaj could hardly eat, drink, sleep or walk around. In fact, peace became something which he could not experience either in the day or in the night. Hujjaj used to say to people in anguish, "I swear by Allah Azza wa Jal that on those nights in which I do fall off to sleep, I could see that I am swimming in a sea of blood." He also continued to take the name of the great Imam till his last breath, saying that he did not know what was going to happen.